Okay, is it just me, or do the A's only play the Angels these days?
You are Locked On A's, your daily Oakland A's podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, A's fans, and welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about your Oakland A's all season long in this bizarre season. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully. Today's episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even Anaheim. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Follow us at Locked On A's on Twitter or whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. If you're following us every day and you leave a message on any of our social media, make sure to put that hashtag EverydayA's so we have an idea who's listening to us. So this is going to be yet another recap episode where I talk about the show. On this show, we're going to talk about the games played over the weekend. And I guess, apparently they only play the Angels these days. And if game one is any indication, this is going to be a weird, emotional weekend of games. So let's break it down. You already know what happens on Saturday and Sunday. I don't, because I'm recording this on Saturday morning. My voice is a little gone. You'll have to forgive me. The other day, it was 108 degrees here in the Bay Area, 108 degrees Celsius. Yes, I've made that joke before. I will make it again. So let's go over what happened on the weird, emotional roller coaster that was Friday's game. That's right. The Jacob Wilson era has begun. And typical of the A's, it's already a roller coaster. It was already a soap opera full of emotions. Jacob Wilson, the A's brought up their top prospect for at least a period of time, their lone prospect on MLB's top 100 baseball prospects. Good for them. He was kicking butt in Midland. He was kicking butt in Las Vegas. Bring him up. Bring him up. See what the kid can do. Give him a little bit of depth. Give A's fans whether or not you're going to stick with the A's next year when they play in Sacramento. It's not up to me. I'm certainly going to follow them next year. But let's see what we got. And 11,000 some odd came out to Oakland. Again, not breaking any attendance records, but it's five digits. Nice crowd. Playing the Angels on a hot, kind of sticky night. And Sears gets behind the eight ball almost immediately. By the way, someone named Zach Nito Mosquito, I'm sure he's been called many times. He had a terrific game for the Angels. He got a homer. He went 3 for 4. He had a game-tying home run at one point. And yes, the Angels took the early lead, but Jacob Wilson made a play right away. They cut to his dad. Everyone's mumbling. His dad's got the A's shirt. He's pumped up. He's like Stomper. And then he gets his first hit. And you just can't help but feel for my God, that's so great. That is so fantastic. I was at the game earlier, the 20-run game. And that was a game where Harris hit 2 home runs, and they kept cutting back to his family. But it's a great moment. And so Wilson gets on base. And then Lawrence Butler, who I don't know how he's still only hitting 218, because every time I watch a game of Lawrence Butler, he winds up getting 3 or 4 hits. But he wound up hitting a beautiful triple right down the right field line. And it scored Wilson and Schumann. But that moment of adulation and hope just immediately was a collective gasp when we all saw Wilson sort of limping to home plate. And at that moment, we all became Tom Hanks in Castaway, yelling, "Wilson!" And the father's face when he went from seeing his son's scoring the game-tying run to he's clearly injured. And just the moment of despair. And then you see the trainer and you see Wilson trying to work through it. He runs out and says, nope. I'm a shortstop. I can't be hobbled. Now the word is it's a hamstring injury. We all saw it as a hamstring injury. I'm such a weird pessimist whenever I see an injury on a baseball field or on a basketball court. Basketball, if I watch a basketball game and I see someone grab their knee and kind of limp off, immediately I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna have to shoot him. They're gonna have to saw his leg off. They're gonna have to do that scene where they break out the saw and he's gonna be, Doc, am I ever gonna walk again? No, I'm sorry, you're not gonna walk again. And then like 3 minutes later, they're back out there shooting jump shots. I am the same way in baseball. It's like, oh no, he grabbed his hamstring. He's never gonna play again. He's probably going to be fine. The odd thing is they're probably going to have to put him on the injured list and call someone else up because, this is a crown jewel. You don't want to mess with this. And if it means, all right, well, he made his debut and 10 days later he'll come back. Bring another player up. Call up have the 14th caller at 9:60 a.m. I don't know. But, Nito, so immediately there's that moment of, oh man, this was supposed to be a fun night. And Nito homered, and like, oh boy, it's going to be one of those nights, is it? And then it happened. By the way, good work on Harris for filling in and for Wilson. And Harris drove in a run and scored a run. That was the go-ahead run in the fourth inning. And then Schumann homered, and then the roof caved in. And it was, before you knew, it was 6-2. And then the A's won on a wild 7-run rally in the sixth, which, I mean, you can't even, when you get to a 7-run rally, at some point you're just like, and then they scored a lot of runs. And, and then there was, Schumann doubled, Butler singled. Again, Butler seems like he's a 400 hitter when I watch him. And Duhart got that double. Bleday hit a home run. Langoliers hit a home run. You hit a home run. You hit a home run. Sears pitched well enough to win. He pitched into the sixth inning when they had a decent-sized lead. And I like Kotsay doing that because, yes, he let up 9 hits, which is not great. But he only threw 81 pitches. And one of the main reasons is he didn't walk anybody. Yeah, he let up a bunch of hits, including 2 home runs. He didn't walk anybody. And Adams did a good job. And by the time the roof caved in, there was no need to bring in Miller. and Otanez and Ferguson and Beto finished the game out. And so you have a rested and ready, Miller. And the A's are putting the Angels, the A's just have to split the next 2 games. And lo and behold, they've won yet another series. And here's something to chew on for a little bit. In the month of July, the A's are 8-5. They are 8-5 this month. They are averaging over 7 runs a game. Because remember, this month they blew the doors off the dump against both the Angels and the final game of the season, of the series against Philadelphia before the All-Star break. Remember that? It seemed like a while ago. They blew him out. And then they blew him out again today. And when you look at that Pythagorean win-loss record, where it's sort of like the run differential and how their win-loss record should appeal to that, the month of July, nobody is better. Nobody is better than the A's. And they have only the Astros, Red Sox, and Tigers have won more games this month. And we're nearing the end of the month. This isn't like, they had one good week. And they have, as I mentioned before, they seem to only play the Angels these days. And they got 2 more games against the Angels in today and tomorrow. And then the Astros come in, and the Astros we know are red hot. Then guess what? They play 4 games against the Angels. And then a pair of games against San Francisco. And there is a legitimate shot for the A's to have a winning July. There's also a legitimate shot that the A's could catch up with the Angels. So our little pipe dreams of wanting to see the A's not finish in last place, do you know what? May not be so outlandish. All right. So we know that the A's won game 1 of the series. You know what happened. Split the next 2. I'm fine with winning series. I would love to see the A's sweep the Angels again, but I am perfectly fine with winning series and having a winning month. All right, we come back. We're going to talk about the Saturday game, and hopefully they took that game. Once again, you know what happened, but no spoilers to me, people of the future. I'm not sure who won that game. So let's go A's and see what happens. This episode of Locked On A's is brought to you by Booking.com. Yeah, I've done some great trips. I've seen baseball games at a bunch of cities this year, including a fabulous trip that I took to upstate New York. I went to Buffalo, which is a beautiful city, by the way, and I saw a Bison's game there. Went to Syracuse, saw a Syracuse Mets game there, traveled all the way to Cooperstown, and spent a glorious few days at the Hall of Fame. And each place I stayed, I had a fabulous hotel. A beautiful hotel downtown Buffalo, then a really nice, safe hotel near the campus in Syracuse, and a fabulous inn that was walking distance to both the lake and the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. I got them all through Booking.com. From hotels that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the United States for your summer travel this baseball season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. Book today on Booking.com. Or on the site, or at the Booking.com app. Booking.com. More like Booking.yeah. Let's hear a little bit from our friends over at SupplyHouse.com. Get supplies from the site that's made for skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is a reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product information to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skill trade can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. That site again is supplyhouse.com. Hey, where is your hub for your sports news, your sports takes, your sports opinions? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest sports stories. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or on the free Amazon Fire TV chat app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, the Saturday game just ended. It just ended just like a couple of minutes ago. And I want to get my thoughts on it. I was praising the A's for scoring, more than 7 runs a game. And look what they did on Saturday. Another offensive output. They didn't get double digits. I thought they were going to at one point, but they were up 3-0 after the first. And then they're up 7-1 after the fourth, and they just cruise on. Right now, the A's for the month of July are 9-5. They won 9 games in all of May. They won 7 games in all of June. and now they're 9-5 in the month of July with a really good run differential. I mean, 8-2, they absolutely just pancaked the Angels again. And remember when the A's, because they have to play the Angels constantly, they got swept by them at the end of June, and then they returned the favor with a sweep, 7-5, 5-0, 5-0 at the beginning of July. That was really where things started to, take off the team a little bit. But let's just remember a couple of things here. They finished, July started with, that close game against the Angels, 7-5, then a couple of pretty convincing shutouts, 5-0. Frustrating game to the Orioles when they were in town, but then they pancaked the Orioles 19-8. They scored 9 runs in one of their losses to the Red Sox. They won a game against the Red Sox, and they won the series against Philadelphia. And their lowest run total in the 3-game series with Philadelphia was 5. Remember, they lost that one game 11-5, but they won 6-2, lost 11-5, won 18-3. They won 13-3 yesterday. They won 8-2 today. They're not just winning; they're clotheslining these teams. And you take a look at up and down. I mean, Rooker, who obviously if they trade him now, they're going to get something handsome for him because Rooker is showing everyone that he should have been on the All-Star team. He got that 3-run home run in the first. That's his 22nd home run of the year. That raises his average. Do you like batting average? He has 294 average. You like OPS? He's a 951 OPS. You like runs batted in? The man's up to 65 RBI. And then again, Butler. I must only catch his good games. He got his batting average finally up to 230. He had another 3-hit game. 3 for 4, 3 runs batted in. And Duhar, if he wants to be traded, he's doing a nice audition. 3 for 4 on RBI. Blade doubled. Schumann doubled. Spence pitched fine. He pitched fine. He pitched into the 6th. And once again, let's review. What are the ways the A's can win a game? Find ways to score runs that are not just launching home runs. Keep the other team from the big inning. Don't do anything stupid. Don't give the game away. Well, they scored plenty of runs without a home run. Yes, Rooker did homer in the first, but they got a bases loaded walk, Butler's double, Andujar's single. I mean, they found ways. They found ways to turn things in their favor. Did they play dumb baseball? No, they played pretty smart. They did make an error. There was an error, but it didn't cause much damage, and it didn't lead to a run. The one error was a fielding error by Schumann. So the Angels didn't have a big inning. They scored 1 run in the 3rd and 1 run in the 6th, and they didn't give it away. And with this, the A's are continuing a nice little clothesline. And look at another game they didn't have to use Mason Miller. I was thinking that they should probably give Mason Miller an inning. I thought this when I was watching when it got to be, I think, 7-1. And I thought they should give Mason Miller an inning. You don't want to get rusty. And then I realized of all the pitchers on the A's staff, he was the only one who pitched during the All-Star break. Lest we forget, he was an All-Star and won the damn game. So the A's have won the series against the Angels. No matter what happens, if they lose 98-0 and the Angels throw a perfect game, then there you go. But with this, let's take a look at a couple of things here. First and foremost, they've won the series, which is what you want to do. Just win series. Take 2 out of 3 when you can. Estes is pitching against Fulmer tomorrow. Estes is, his ERA has an area code on it, and Fulmer has had decent numbers, but Estes has pitched well. We've all seen him pitch well recently, and I don't trust Fulmer any farther than I could throw him. 1 o'clock game at the Coliseum. Show up there. With this, the A's are now they're 2 games back in the win column and 4 games back in the loss column of the Angels. There's a bunch of games to go. And a bunch of head-to-head games to go. And so, with that in mind, the whole notion of can the A's finish the season avoiding 90 losses? Well, that's possible if they put together a winning month and play, and if they continue playing like this into August. But the other thing is, can they finish? This is my wish list. Can they finish the season avoiding 100 losses? They don't look like a 100-loss team right now. And can they finish out of the cellar? Well, the Angels are falling apart. The Angels do not look good. The Angels look awful. And the A's are playing well, and they have a bunch of head-to-head games with them. Keep winning those games. Keep chipping away. Wouldn't it be something with all that's gone wrong with the team, the move, the Sacramento nonsense, the lies about Vegas, the disastrous May and the disastrous June? Wouldn't it be something if they finish the season avoiding last place and avoiding 100 losses? I think that'd be pretty cool. And we're seeing that the team can play the way we think they can. So, you know what's going to happen. I want to see a sweep. Sweeps are good for teams that are trying to, climb back into it. But even if they don't, I'm perfectly content. We all should be content with winning series. And they've done it. They've already done it. There's no rubber game here. It's, do you go for the sweep or do the Angels salvage a game? And that's a glorious position to be in. All right, that's enough about Saturday. We come back, we're going to talk about Sunday and moving on, because do you know what? I'm having fun with this team. I hope you are. And if they continue to play like this, then do you know what? There could be more reasons to go to the Coliseum other than just pure nostalgia. Hey, go to the game, buy some tickets. I know it's not exactly the hardest ticket to get, A's tickets, but go there anyway. Buy the tickets, get the ideal seat there, and use Gametime. Gametime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on Gametime go down the closer you get to first pitch. They got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, and views from the seat at the lowest price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying your tickets. I have the sections where I like to sit. I like to sit behind home plate in the second deck, a little bit up the first base line. And so I can go for a zone deal. I can say, here is the section I want to sit in, and finds me the best deal. And it's all in prices. You get the feature. It shows you the total up front. There's no surprise fees. You get the seat view. You can get a panoramic seat view. Make sure you like the seat. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, the lowest prices. Do you know what they are? I'll tell you what they are. They're guaranteed. Hey, this is a reminder that Locked On has begun the first ever national sports streaming channel over on YouTube 24/7. And it's now available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channel app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today, now available on the free Fire TV channel app. All right, today hurt. I'm not going to lie to you. I wanted to sweep. You wanted to sweep. We all wanted to sweep, and they could have swept. They had a 5-2 lead going into the 8th inning. And I know it's a hot day. You start Ursag in the 8th, but Ursag didn't have it. And I would have been just fine, thank you very much, having Mason Miller coming in the 8th. He hasn't pitched in the series. Yes, I know he pitched an inning in the All-Star game. He hasn't appeared once in the entire series against Anaheim. And Ursag didn't have it. And I wanted to have your best reliever coming in that moment. Could have shut them down or have Miller pitching the 9th. Why wouldn't he pitch the 9th? They put a huge huge, and did I mention huge insurance run on the board in the ninth inning. It prevented Rooker from that situation in the ninth to be the tying run. Look, I have to be consistent here. I've been preaching the importance of winning series. The A's have won a series. The A's have been playing winning baseball, and once again, they had a decent offensive output. They scored 5 runs, which is oddly down for them. Good performance out of Andujar, going 3 for 5 with a home run. Good performance by Butler, getting on base 4 times at the leadoff spot. Rooker drove in a pair. Estes was okay. Too many hits, but pitched into the 6th. McFarland did his job, and Urseg was bad. But Urseg faced 4 batters in that 8th inning and didn't retire a single one. I completely would have had Miller ready. I'm sorry. I'm not a big fan of the tyranny of the save. You have a dynamic reliever like this. You have a chance to go for the sweep. I bring him in the 8th. And if they wind up not using for the 9th, I don't care. But I think at some point you have to go down with the best of the ship. But, it's frustrating. You had a chance for a clean sweep, and it was sitting right there. The other 2 games, everything went exactly according to plan. In fact, everything went according to plan, with the exception of the injury on Friday, as much as you could hope for. And, taking 2 out of 3, we got to, when you lose the 3rd game and it stings, it's kind of like my Yankee fan friends who saw them take 2 out of 3 to Baltimore, but that final game they had in their grasp, but they, it didn't happen. So what's going to happen now? Harris is going to be pitching against Arrighetti of the Astros. Maybe you're not aware, but the Astros who were 10 games out of first place at just a little more than a month ago, have caught Seattle. Now, Houston lost the final game to the Mariners, but they won the first 2. The second one, both in dramatic fashion, a very dramatic weekend. And so they're on a roll. Now, Arrighetti is pitching for, as I said, for Houston. He's a vulnerable pitcher. Harris has looked pretty good. What they need to do is they need to jump all over their starting pitcher. They need to put them on their heels. The Astros are coming into town. You have a chance to punch them in the mouth. And the Mariners are going to be playing the Angels. And for the Mariners, they better hope that the A's punch the Astros in the mouth and they can punch the Angels in the mouth. Frustrating afternoon, but what are you going to do? Hey, one of these days, it may be Tuesday, it may be Wednesday or Thursday, I have a special episode of Locked On A's that I'm going to drop. And it's one where your pal Sully, that's me, made a trip. I went to Sacramento, met some very nice people there. Chuck and Em are 2 fans who I met, had a nice conversation with, Chris the Usher, in Sacramento. But I have some thoughts about playing Major League Baseball in that stadium in these conditions. And no one could say I didn't sit and do my homework. You may have noticed I got a little bit of sun and I'm a little wiped out. So there you go. That's going to go on either, as I said, it's either going to be the Tuesday or the Wednesday show. Kind of depends on what happens on the game tomorrow. All right. Well, hey, the A's won a series. And they keep doing that. They're going to play winning baseball. I can't complain too much. So follow us at Locked On A's on Twitter, or whatever it's called now. And on Instagram, I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Talking about a weekend where there's some debuts, or the runs scored. There was a chance at a sweep. They didn't do it, but they won the series. This has been Locked On A's. I am your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please call me Sully.